Alright guys, today's video is going to go over how to construct a size A sheet. I do this for just the sole reason of right when you guys start drawing, there's some certain principles I want to go over. Not only how to tape down, but also how to use the pencil sharpener, and just other little things as we go along. So at this point you have finished steps 1 through 4, you have completed the test, and now we're at step 5 and you're going to construct 3 size A sheets. So in OneNote, you also will see in Unit 2, under the Resource tab, that you will then go ahead and see a size A decimal and a size A metric. Keep in mind, they're the exact same, just one's in decimal format and the other one's in metric format. And we'll zoom this in as we get started. But before we get going any further, this is the transparency page that we need. We're going to go over the conversion chart just real quick where we're going to find it, and yeah, that's kind of outlined it. So we're going to try to make this a quick video. Start off, notice the pencil. If I was to zoom in, you guys will, the zoom in's not going to work very well. Let's see if I can. Here we go. See how blunt that thing is? Let's bring this thing in. Here we go. If I look at this, you're going to notice this is a blunt side, this is the sharp side. Here's the pencil. So if I zoom back out, you pull the trigger here, lead comes out. If you run out of lead, okay, just come ask me for more. If you're you break it off and don't have any more, push it forward, get the new piece from me, slide it in. Now how to sharpen it, depending on the actual lead size, or the point size, you put it in the corresponding side. Notice I stick it out first. I stick it in whatever point I'm looking for, and most likely everyone in here is going to be using the sharp point, well, should be, unless they're looking for a dark object line. So I'll stick it in, I'll pull the trigger right here, I'll slide it forward, I'll release. I will then slide it in here. If it doesn't go all the way in, you're not going to be cutting, and then just when you get it, turn it. Notice it stops cutting, which means you're sharp. Boom. Last but not least, some of you with the new pencil sharpeners have little styrofoam in here. You may do so and go ahead and stick it in there just to kind of get the graphite off. If not, real simple, just kind of grab a random piece of paper and do this. Maybe wipe it with your finger, or even a rag in the center of your desk. So we kind of got that, right? You've already gone over the architect scale. Let's go over this sheet and this one, where to find it. If you go back to OneNote, go into the Resource tab, and then underneath Resource, you're going to go to Fundamentals. Right? After you get into Fundamentals, there'll be, I think, just 3 tabs. One will be, maybe 3 or 2. I can't remember, but one is essentially the size A border, and the other one is the conversion chart, and there might be alphabet lines in there, which we'll go over in another video. But you must construct 3 drawings, or 3 borders. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw one in the decimal format and then one in the metric format, and just real quick on how we do it. Hey Kylie, would you do me a favor and grab me a new metric scale so I can show it in this video? Thank you, ma'am. Okay, here's your size A, here's your sliding T-square. Now, this part of the video is going to be a bit confusing here, because I'm going to zoom around. Notice they have a knob and a knob. You lock those knobs, this thing won't move. Unlock them to move them. Move it up and down. If you scroll up over to here, there's a knob here. Scroll over here, in the middle. In the middle, there's a spring which compresses, and then just another edge. So if you want to, let's say, turn this and give it a different angle, kind of like slide it, simply just go up to this knob, loosen it, come back, and then just simply turn it. Nothing new to it, and you should be ready to rock and roll. Keep in mind about these T-squares, you could be like this and draw a drawing. As long as your paper is square with your T-square, then every line above that will be square. So I always like when I start the day out, kind of get it to my eye level of being level, and then I'll go back and I'll tighten that guy. And now we're not Hercules on any of these knobs. None of these knobs you're looking to be Hercules on. They're just snug. Okay? Now I come back, here's my paper. My first step is I'm going to grab my drafting dots. If you have a drafting dot that isn't put together and it's just random paper inside there, your first step you're going to do is you're going to put it in there like so. I'm sorry. There we go. Slide it over the top. Roll it back over. And then close it back down. Real simple. Don't be a hoarder with these drafting dots. Don't put them in your desk. We only have a select few and they're expensive to buy. There we go. Now every time I pull this trigger, one should come up, just like that in the video. So I'll grab it. There I am. So here we are. Here's my paper. Notice I'm going to hold it down like so, and then I'm going to slide this down on top of it to where it's nice and flat and on there. Hold it nice and flat. I'm making sure I'm locked in that upper corner. Here I am. Hold it in position, make sure I'm flat, and then I'm just going to tape the corners down real quick. Pull the trigger again, grab another one. Make sure I'm locked. There we go. Pull it out of the way. Get the last two, and I'm just going to grab them from on this end so we're all's well. There's that one. Here's this one. Okay, now I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm going to look at my size A border, and we're going to do the first one in the decimal format. So we're going to zoom in real close. First line we're going to look at here, guys, is, there we go. Cool. Zoom in there. Okay, you might not be able to read it, and I'll bring it in for you. It simply says that a 1/4 inch border inset from around the edge of paper. That's horrible. There we go. Quarter inch border inset from the edge of paper. So what that simply means is you're going to come around the entire paper, which means there's a line here at the edge of the paper. You're going to come in a 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch. Same goes up here. Right? 1/4 inch. Over here, 1/4 inch, because here's the edge of the paper, keep in mind, right? And then down at the bottom, 1/4 inch up, 1/4 inch over. Real simple, right? 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, same thing. So let's zoom back out. At this point, we all know how to read an architect scale or even a metric scale, but we'll go over it again just real quick. There we go. So you have an architect scale, which we've already learned in the previous videos, right? And then you have a metric scale. The metric scale is unique in the sense that it has decimals, fractions, and millimeters. Notice one thing you will share in common on each side of the scale is millimeters, and you range from 10 all the way up to 300. If I flip it over, same thing, 10 to 300. Only difference is on each side is one is measured in decimals, meaning tenths of an inch. Flip it over. This one's 1/16 of an inch, which we've learned in the architect scale, 1/16 of an inch on our scale here. So it's kind of neat that you can use this for both metric and decimal. So you can choose which one you want to use. Alright, so first things first is real quick tricks that I like to do is lay a scale down and measure versus trying to freehand it up here, because this measurement is different than that measurement. So if I use my sliding T-square to use it, then it kind of benefits me. One common mistake people do is they always like to mark with a pencil. That's why we have our dividers. Okay, I just found out that it's an easy trick. So it has a point on it, so I'm simply just going to maybe just drop one point back inside so it's not in our way. That one's kind of sharp. I'm going to stick this one out. If I can get it out. Gee, many crickets. Why is that such a hard bugger? I can't get that out of there. I'm gonna have to get my pliers out. So it's out there far enough. I'll get this out of our way. Here's my scale. I'm supposed to come in a 1/4 inch. Zoom in here. I'm simply just going to come in a 1/4 inch. I'm going to stab it just nice and light. Keep in mind, guys, you're not looking to try to save your life by stabbing this, so don't go crazy on the stabbing. So real quick, I'm just going to stab these. Come back, 1/4 inch, stab. Now I'm going to tip it up. I'm going to line my scale up with the edge of my paper on the back side. Like so. Here's my 1/4 inch. Here's my other 1/4 inch. Now at the same time, I know from my measurements that I've got to go an 1/8, an 1/8, and an 1/8. There's my lines. Keep in mind my pencil is sharp. I will line it inside my hole, and I'm going to draw very light the first time. One thing you're going to notice as I draw, I'm rolling this pencil because as you draw, your lead will get dull. But if you roll it as you draw, your lead will last longer. There's that one. Here's this one. Here's this one. Now I'm going to roll it to the top. I'm going to do the same thing. There's this one. Now I'm going to grab my 60-degree triangle because it's 10 inches big. That way I can draw one line and be over the entire thing. But now I know where I stop and start with my lines, so I'm going to make sure I go a little bit darker and heavier. Keep in mind I'm rolling this pencil. I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. There's my line. A little bit darker. There it is. Now I'll chase it back with all these. There's that one. There's this one. And then I'll come up here and do this one up here. Okay. One thing you will notice, guys, is as you guys get to drawing, some of you guys will get marks on your paper and it's showing a double line. And it's because as you drew, okay, you simply went, I'll show you here. You simply drew once, one way, and then as you came back, you rolled your pencil and then went this way, which then gives you that double line if I zoom into there. That causes the double line. Same thing's going to happen if you roll it forward. See how it's kind of climbing? So it's very important as you roll your pencil, you kind of keep it at the same angle. Make sense? Notice my lead's getting dull again, so I need to make sure I sharpen it. You guys will find out that as you get to drawing, you'll find out the correct, what's the word I'm looking for? Pressure on a pencil to find out how to make your lead last the longest. We got a couple other lines we got to draw, and I'm simply just going to do them really quick by looking at my sheet, right? Because I'm given measurements and all this on how to draw it all. So here is, that's 3.5. Over here I come to 3/4, 3/4, 1, 1, and those are all inches. So real simple. I'm going to lay this on there, use my divider, and you come 3.5. There's that mark. I'm going to come back 3/4 of an inch. Oops, there we go. 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 plus 3/4, 1.5 inches, plus an inch, plus an inch. Now I have my marks. I'll grab my triangle. I'm sharp now. I'm ready to rock and roll. I roll it. I'm good. A couple more to put on. Okay, oh, this one is the one I forgot. Okay, and then the last one. One thing you'll notice is all these lines are dark except for 2, and those are the 2 middle ones here, and that's where you're going to be writing your information. what it says to write. So the first one, it says you need to write the drawing title, then your name, your scale, your date, your period, your unit. So real simple, my my title is just simply size A drawing. My name is Spearson. My scale is 1:1. My date 9-2/2/17. My class period, I'll just do 0. And my period would be, or my unit would be Unit 2, because we're just starting Unit 2 and we're getting to draw the borders. So, little tricks of the trade, things that I require and kind of go over is you're doing 3 of them. And the main reason you're doing 3 of them is so that I can show you little things I want you to correct before you actually get to legitly drawing, which will be the next video. So, a couple things here I'm going to notice is I stabbed over here. What I should have done is stabbed on this line versus stabbing there. So if I zoom in here, you guys can see my stab marks. I should have stabbed over here. I also didn't use my racing shield to clean this edge up, which I'll show you here in just a second, but I should have gotten rid of those little lines. If I scroll over here, I'm missing. I didn't go all the way across. I didn't finish up cleaning it up. I come over here, I got a double line going on, and just little things like that. Here's the thing is, I like to talk about and do these videos on your first drawing is because we're shooting for excellence. We're shooting for, let's just say, perfection. But I understand we're not computers, which means in turn that I want you to recognize what looks gorgeous versus what looks like crap, and how you can make adjustments and fix your stuff. So as you go through this, I will just simply circle things that I want you to fix on your next one, and you'll just do your next drawing. And then I will just simply stamp it like so, and I'll say this is 1 of 3. And then of course that is step 5, and then by the time you get to your 2 of 3 and 3 of 3, you've completed it. Some people get stretched out to even doing 4 of them or 5 of them just because I feel like they aren't slowing down, taking the time to show me that they can do it right. One thing you will notice about my text is everything's capitalized and it's kind of centered. Shoot for that, and that's important, is 1:1. Yeah, so I believe that's the end of this video. One thing real quick about the conversion chart, which you guys will find on OneNote under Resources and Fundamentals, and it will literally say conversion chart up at the top. It's a PDF. Is you're going to notice my chart here carries multiple things. It carries the fractions in quarters, 8s, 16s, 32nds, and 64s. And then it carries the decimals in 4th, 3rd, 2nd decimal places. And last but not least, it does even millimeters. So if you're looking at this, you can simply convert millimeters back to fraction or decimal then to fraction, or vice versa, fraction to decimal to millimeters. And the reason why you need to know that is because as you continue drawing, some of these will be in decimal format, some of these will be in metric. And you can simply see and tell that by looking at the drawing. So we'll take a look at this one. This is decimal format, which means this is 10 and a half inches, right? But if I zoom out, and let's just say I do that's decimal, let's say I do the metric, and then we're going to look at that number. That number is 284. So when you see numbers that are a little bit off and kind of like out there, or if you look at the drawing and you're starting to draw and you're like, man, this looks really, really small, it's probably because that 12.5 was supposed to be 12.5 in millimeters, and not be 12.5 in inches, right? Or vice versa, however you look at it. So it's real nice to be able to recognize that, and if you ever have questions, ask me. Don't hesitate. Don't sit there and scratch your head for a half hour or even a full day trying to figure it out yourself. Not saying you couldn't do it, but just that you're wasting time and everything's done by individual pacing and keeping up with your speed. So that's the end of it. The next video we're going to go over just quickly how to draw these first three, and I'm not even going to draw the entire thing, and I'm actually going to reuse this border. Okay guys, good luck. Have a great day.